Welcome to this morning's live tarot. Before we start, let me just use the Palo Santo to clear the air and bring community to us. Today's readings are all about mom. What is it that is on fire? Is it your passion? Is it your fear? When it comes to mom energy, as we lift our hearts and try to step out of ourselves and clear the air, because the reality is that the mother relationship is complicated on a good day. Just have to put my Palo Santo aside. And so I'm so excited to do this pick a card this morning on looking at the world of moms. We have our pile 1, our pile 2, and our pile 3. So as you're looking at the art, just allow yourself to be drawn in. Which of these cards pulls your energy when you think of your own mom? Okay, so we are going to start with pile 1. Let's set these aside. All right. Okie dokie, let's take a look. So, what we know is that today is Mother's Day in the US. And because of that, it stirs up some conflicted feelings for a lot of people, because the fact is that becoming an adult with your family is challenging. And sometimes the relationship with your mom and your dad at that point, but with your mom, can be painful. And so this card talks about seeing the humor. It's real easy to lose track and take everything too personally when you look back at your last contact with your mom, right? Perhaps it was a little bit tense. So, on this day, to honor the maternal energy, because there is a maternal energy that flows that is outside of the role of being a mom. And so the idea that your own mom was once a child and had to get along with her own mom, that can give you kind of a sense of humor about it. So let's take a look at our oracle cards here and see what we can add. All right, so there is a divine flow that is abundance in her life and abundance in your life. Your ability to see her with a sense of humor will open you to greater abundance in your life right now. When she gets on your last nerve, things get turned off. But when you can look with a little distance and see that when she micromanages you, or when she's not able to meet the needs that you think you have at the moment, it's not personal. It probably has a lot to do with how she looks at her own childhood. Okay? So if you can see the humor in it, you will open yourself to more divine flow, and it will impact who you are on the planet right now. That's Murphy. Let's take a look at the tarot. Oh, yes. Okay. So, Queen of Earth. This is Mother Energy. I'm so grateful she showed up for you, pile 1. And we have the 9 of Water. Okay, so there are emotions that are stirred up for you today. But this energy shows that your mom has had nothing but the best wishes for you as you've gone along. And chances are that y'all were a little closer when when you were younger, that perhaps you spent time outside with the dandelions and she and you created a bond. But now that you're older and you're doing your own thing, the idea that something could be broken and fixed by humor. One of the things I recommend is that you go back and think about the times when you and your mom laughed your asses off. Okay, so just search your memory for the times when you really loved being with your mom. This energy right here is an energy of adjustment. at my point, I'm a grandmother right now. My mom's not here anymore, and she was really kind of a challenging person for me. And so at this point, when I allow myself to look with more humor, I feel softer inside. So if your mom is here on the planet right now still, I want you to realize that when she was a little girl, she wanted to have her wishes fulfilled. And in many ways, being your mom satisfied her to the depth of her being. But for whatever reason, there's a little bit of separation from y'all right now. It would be her heart to heal it. And so use your sense of humor. If something has happened that's hurt your feelings, go figure. I'm a daughter, a mom, and a grandmother. Believe me, I know what it's like to have hurt feelings in female relationships. But the overall universal energy here is calling us to more humor all the time. This is our last oracle card from the angels, and it's that beam of truth. Look up here at how this light shines. This is our divine wisdom, our divine knowledge. And as we allow ourselves to be guided through the sound of my voice this morning and make a pledge to see our moms with a greater sense of humor, this spear of truth drops down the light into the core of your being and will help you find the connection to abundance that you're looking for. The maternal energy is a powerful one, and it's outside of humanity, it's outside of human personality. When I look up maternal in the dictionary, which of course I do because I'm kind of a nut that way, and I'm overwhelmed with the completion of the contentment that's in pure maternal energy. So I have an affirmation for you, and it's on a white card because that's how I want you to start clean, fresh, something new with the energy around your mom, whether she's here on the planet or not. Let's see what it is. I am confident. Yes, I think that what I would do is write this simple affirmation on a post it note and put it in a place you'll see it every day. I am confident I am handling my mom as best as I can. I'm confident I'm growing the relationship with her as I see her with more humor. Excuse me a second. Bella, 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 you can lay down now. She's distracting me. Sorry about that. Anyway, I am confident that with the divine's assistance, I can see my mom as the comical personality that she is. Sense of humor makes a huge difference. Okay, let's move on to pile number 2. If you're new here, I'm Catherine. This is Fish Out of Water Tarot, where I love to talk to people who are a bit shy and maybe feeling uh, a little awkward socially. My new cards are bending up. Okay, so this is pile 2, and I love have confidence. I mean, we just took that affirmation from pile number 1. And so if you didn't get a chance to hear pile number 1, you might want to, because confidence came up in there also. And this balancing act, look at that. I love how it says strength and balance. And look at how she's walking on that tightrope. So I would say this is an energy of you're so careful around your mom, or you're careful around a female in your life, like you're walking on eggshells, okay? And you don't want anything to be ruined. You are so, so careful. And I look at all the things. I mean, there's a diploma here. Maybe you're actually a student. Maybe you're off at college right now and you're really wanting to be on your own, but you really feel like you have to kind of balance something with your mom because maybe she's having trouble letting go of you. Maybe she's having trouble seeing you as an adult. And mind you, you might be 50 years old and still feel this way. I have met people who feel they need to be connected to their mom in their 50s. That is the same way they did when they were 3. It's a strange sort of thing, and I'm not a psychologist, counselor, or social worker. All I am is somebody that people talks to about the observations of their life. Look at how alone she is, right? So she, in this role, maybe it's being the perfect daughter, is just keeping her trapped. Okay, so let's take a look at pile two here. The feeling that you may have, you may be trapped in the role of daughter, and it's not letting you mature. Okay, so let's take a look at our, oh gosh. Okay, oh man, I just got hit with goosebumps up and down my spine, and you guys know spine tingling is the way to know when you get goosebumps. It just means the universe is saying, pay attention. I was 50 years old before I learned that. I thought goosebumps just happened when you were cold. But now I know that when goosebumps flush me, or if I get like maybe something in my throat feels like I'm going to cry, or sometimes I'll get tingles around my jaw. All of those are signals the universe is trying to show you, pay attention. So let's look at this humility card. Look at all of the purple, even these beautiful purple clover that I brought into the reading. Pile number two, this is for you. What I want you to do is Google the meaning of purple, spiritual meaning of purple. I think you're going to be moved deeply, and it will help you to make the moves you need to make to get where you want to go with your mom. Okay, there's a resource in the description box below. It's called The Solution. So please click it because it's a tool to help you rid yourself of some of, how can I call it? Like the residue. Like when I pick up my Palo Santo here, see the residue at the end, the burnt end and the ashes. I could clear that. That's what the solution will do for you. You can clear some of the uncomfortableness here. Because you know what? You have to fly on your own. You have to let go. What would happen if she let go of all that stuff? What would happen? I think she's afraid she'd fall off, but she doesn't see that her destination is right here. Crossing this barrier or crossing this, what is it? It's like graduation to a place of seeing your own self fulfilled. Both, everybody has to have a dose of humility, and we only can do that through the divine. But what is it you can do to just humbly ask the divine for help? If you recognize yourself here and you feel you're always offended, I mean, everything you say makes her mad. And that was so true in my life. I couldn't do anything right. And so it was very, very difficult. But I want to tell you something, pile two. Please listen. When my mom was passing away in 2012, she ended up apologizing to me 3 times. Not many people get to have that. And she died while I was holding her hand. And after having so much brokenness over time and feeling like I could do nothing right, I was able to hold her hand and help her cross over. So the reality is that wherever you're standing with your mom right now, there is something for you, my friend. Okay, so let's take a look at our tarot and see what it is that the, look, see, this is Catherine, and that's me. That was me because crying over spilled milk. I can't tell you how many um, how many days that I spent so unhappy because I kept thinking I was missing something. I was like, what am I missing emotionally? I'm missing something. And then I have to tell you the Campbell's soup um, lesson. In the States, well, you probably have Campbell's soup all over the world. What am I talking about? But if you can picture the Campbell's soup section of the grocery store with all the red and white labels, right? And so from afar, it all looks the same. But yet there's chicken noodle, tomato, and vegetable. But from a distance, all the Campbell's soup cans look the same. And I realized God gave me an insight and said, you have a false premise. Thank you, Abraham Hicks. I love that word. You have a false premise that mother's love is a very separate, unique, and um, what's the word? It's so separate from all the other loves in the world that if you don't get it, your life is ruined. I believed that. I kind of thought I felt so lonely. Oh, if only my mom were this, if only my mom were that. She was none of that. And so I figured I was broken. But then once I realized that mother's love is not any different, love is love. And whether a neighbor is kind to you or your dog licks your face, how you feel, sorry if that grossed you out, but how you feel when you are loved does not have to be connected to your mom. And that was like 30 years ago, totally changed my life because I began to see her differently. And I could stop bleeping, crying over what I don't have. In this picture, look, see the angel behind her, see the two cups on the table. This idea that we are not seeing the love that is right in front of our eyes. Wake up, right? Wake up. It's a wake up call to see if you feel unloved, you can do something about that for sure. Again, in the description box, you'll find something called the solution. I highly recommend you check it out because it is a practical tool that will work for you at no cost to you. This is your time, my dear pile two. I am so glad you're here for this message. This is no accident. There's something going on right now. You have a higher consciousness. See how this balance point, see how that ballet, how she is balanced on this beam of light. And a beam of light came in pile one also. I highly recommend you listen to pile one for further clarification on this. There's no question that today, on May 12th of 2024, you are being called to something new in your consciousness about your connection with your mom. A full reading might be necessary and delicious for you. I stand here ready to provide that for you. However, there are hundreds and thousands of tarot readers around the world who could also open the cards for you and pull more so you could understand. But the reality is 10 minutes works, doesn't it? If you're here still and you're listening, I've got a tear that's rolling down my right cheek right now. I can feel a tear in my eye. It is not my tear, but I feel it flowing. So some of you may be a kind of person where you actually don't cry too much, and you might actually be proud of that. I don't blame you. I was that way. Years. I would think I'm not crying. Screw them. I am fine. Well, guess what? You're fine until you're exhausted from standing on one foot. So let's see here, pile two. What is your affirmation? Excellent. Tomorrow starts today. Super important for you. Tattoo that on your being today. Would you for me, pile two? Because tomorrow starts today for sure, and you can make these changes and make a big difference. All right. Excellent. Let's go on to pile number three. Thank you so much for being here. As you guys know, I'm on a mission to do every day in May to go live. And so I continue to do that. And I'm tickled pink to see some of you coming back. I don't look at the comments during the reading because I just prefer to keep my focus right on the cards. And with those of you who have been here before, I love you. Thank you for coming in to the reading this morning. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like. The thumbs up shows me that we're on the same track. Okay. Also, if there's something going on with your mom that I'm not covering, if you're a daughter or a mom who's feeling troubled, just email me tarotinfoplease@gmail.com, and I'm happy to give you a resource because this mother-child connection, particularly the mother-daughter connection, can be very complicated, can't it? My mom died in 2012, and I'm just now really stepping into a new level of freedom around it because of being a grandmother and allowing my life to build me up rather than tear me down. But angels are watching over you. Pile three, this reading, it has this heaviness around it, right? This does already show that there are people on the other side right now. That's this message from heaven to support you. So you are supported, protected, loved, and encouraged. Definitely feeling a sense of separation here. This woman is obviously grieving. So, pile two, we just had a message about a deep message about how we adjust ourselves to what our moms expect from us. This one shows separation. Right now in our culture, it's so true that we've never been more polarized, and some families are being broken apart by things that have nothing to do with them. And they would feel comforted if they could just connect to a parental figure. But if for some reason there's a cutoff, there's a please don't call me, please, I would rather do this myself energy. And I have to laugh because my kids, I think back to when they're 3 and 4 years old, and they're like, I'd rather do it myself, no. And so I feel like there's a childlike energy here that's causing some separation. And I just think that your angels on the other side are just cheering for you. They're laughing and giggling. They're seeing your flaws way lighter than you do. I think are uh, your flaws are bothering you more than them, and they have this sense of wanting to inspire you, encourage you. If you're a person that people say you should have a thick skin, you don't have any sense of humor, you got to look at pile one because we talked about humor. But anyway, so let's see what we can do for you. If you're one of these people right now, you even hear my voice and you feel deserted or alone and you feel cut off from your maternal source. Let's see okay. For sure. This was my lesson. I talked about Campbell's soup as one of my spiritual lessons. And so do take a look at my Campbell's soup story in pile two. But I believe that the only answer for us in life, once we get to the place of understanding life as an adult, is to understand that divine abundance is was the whole plan in the first place. Our parents aren't God. I mean, they acted like God. I mean, they chose all of our life from the age of 1 to 10, and they seemed like God-like figures. But part of what we need to do is see that Murphy. Part of what we need to see is that when we are in that time between being a child and adult, that we can shift our awareness that our provision comes from the divine, whether you call it the universe or God, whatever is your way. But it's easy to feel left out if we're expecting our parents to keep giving and giving and giving, because it's not about that. They were only in our life for a brief time. We can't blame them because we're cut off from abundance. We have to take the steps to grow ourselves up. Now, especially like in my family, I remember I read a book where it said, I grew up in a family where there were 10 Indians and no chief. And I knew that was me. I come from a family of 10, nice Irish family. And between my parents and all of my 7 brothers, nobody really was a good leader. And because of that, we were a tribe with no chief and grew up a lot of strange communications. And I spent a lot of years here, girls and boys and moms and dads and ladies and gentlemen. I was depressed for a lot of years because I couldn't understand why my family acted like it did. So let's get our tarot here. King of Air. Oh, very interesting. First thing I notice is look how cold it is, right? It's wintertime. And then we have the Four of Fire and the heat. So I love these cards coming out for you, especially if you've got this kind of sad or confused energy about mom. Where was she? What was I supposed to do with my life? All right. Her marriages or marriage, her connections with men were a very difficult part of your life. Whatever it was, in my case, my mom stayed married 25 years before she passed him off. And when my daughters said, my mom was married, but then my dad got canceled. That was like when she was 10 years old. So that was way before cancel culture. But in a way, his coldness, his injury, his personality problems were definitely part of what caused my own mom to act the way she did. And this was way back. I grew up in the 60s, right? And so just the way roles were for women and everything that was happening there, she didn't know what to do with all of that. I came to know later on that my mom had a lot of, I'm saying these words, I can't even believe I'm coming out of my mouth. But I know for sure that she was more of a jokester. She was more of, there was something in her that wanted to do more than be a mom. And I remember like how she would decorate Christmas presents and she would take powdered sugar and make little footprints, across the room where Santa went to eat the cookies off the plate. She planned birthday parties. There were no Girl Scouts, there were just brownie leaders, stuff like that. She wanted to be creative and she was totally held back. And so look at the heat, the hot and cold. So when you're raised in that kind of situation and always flipping back the hot and cold, it's not easy, is it? It's not. But your message today is that there is great healing for you here. Again, the solution, you'll find it in the description box. It's a way for you to talk about, it's a tool, it's a journaling tool, and you can jot down or use voice to text. Allow yourself to tell the story of the parts of your life that simply did not measure up. Allow yourself to list your disappointments right there in the solution, and you will find exactly what you're looking for. The directions are written there. You can follow the directions, and then you will release yourself from this tug of war that I'm sensing. Here I wondered why I wore this sweatshirt today, but this is what it's like. It's like there's a tug of war inside of you, and there's so much tension. See how I can pull so hard that my hands are shaking? This is what's going on inside of you. Your angels are telling you you don't have to suffer. You can learn to let go. In reading two, I think, pile two, I think we had the humility card. And a lot of times, this ability to have compassion for your parent. Now, my own mom hurt my feelings 25 times west of Sunday. One of the worst offenses, and this may seem like nothing to you, but when she was like, I think she was 66 or something like that, she went off to Africa. That's right. She decided to go to Africa for a purpose. I found out on Facebook that my mom was in Africa. And I thought to myself, I would never leave the country without personally telling my children. This made me feel like this. Got it? The story that I told, I'm not important enough for my own mom to let me know that she's traveling out of the country. Of course, I would feel like that. I'm so not important. How could she do this? My angels, right then, and this is how many years ago? 20 years ago? More? My angels were on the other side. Murphy. And they were trying to help me. But just like Murphy just alerted, there was always a part of me that was so on guard, I wouldn't even trust the divine. I was raised Catholic, and we'd have to go um, to church every Sunday and act like we were a happy family. So the way I looked at God was like that, right? It just didn't work. But now I see that I can be responsible for the hot and cold in my own being. If I have hard feelings towards my family, I can warm them up because I am a manifester and I can completely change my experience. I cannot change my mom. She's passed away. I cannot change my angelic connection because they're always there waiting for me. The only thing I can change is myself to make that choice. So, our last oracle card for you, my darling, pile three, believe in dreams. Yes, it is kind of dreamlike to choose a different perspective than you're living with. It's dreamlike to trust that the divine could lift the spirit. Look at this card. You might want to take a screenshot of that. See the little being at the bottom here? This is you. And look at the size of the divine maternal energy. You weren't robbed. I wasn't robbed. My mom did the best she could. And I'm 71. And it took a long time to get that. But I was so lucky I got to be at her bedside and look in her eyes when she was dying and understand that had, um, she wished she could have done it differently because she didn't understand how her own situation like that impacted us as a family. So, this is the message on pile 3. So, let's pick your affirmation for actually, I can. This is so powerful for Pete's sake. Actually, you can. You can completely reformat, reframe, and see your mom in a different way. I promise. It's true. Start with the solution. You'll see it in the description box. And if that doesn't do it for you, I would love to read your cards. All right. You'll find I'm going to add more details about how to get a hold of me after the reading is finished. Thank you so much for being with me today. I love you guys so much and go forth and prosper. For those of you in the US, have a wonderful Mother's Day.